Hello and welcome. I will be guiding you through this course. Welcome to Unit 2 of British Literature. So, in Unit 2, we focus upon Frankenstein, the origins of Frankenstein and Mary Shelley herself. You'll be writing a paper about Mary Shelley and about Frankenstein, a literary critique. So, what I'd like to talk about in this unit, and we again are devoting about 3 weeks to this unit, is that first you'll have this video, which is kind of an overview video for the origins of the story. Then we'll have this generic placeholder will be replaced by the video I am creating right now. On your to-do list, you're going to need to complete the readings, namely Frankenstein in its entirety, the book. The link for that is right here, gutenberg.org, or you can find any copy. We're tending to look to the 1823 edition of the book. Um, but yeah, so there's a link to an online version where you can find a copy on your own. Uh, so complete the unit's readings, watch the supplemental videos, complete the unit exam. Each unit has an exam. Draft your term paper, which is due by the end of the term. And if you wish, visit our sharing board section of information. Now, in the supplemental videos, in addition to this Origins of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein video, a little bit sensationalistic, but interesting, we have a couple of videos from the National Theatre. There's a small flying thing in the middle of my video. It always is the way, isn't it, when you're trying to do production? Thing gets in the way. All right, back to the National Theatre. So the National Theatre did a version of Frankenstein that was quite well received, and it was performed live and filmic. It was filmed and broadcast to theaters all over Britain. It was quite the interesting experience and sensation. I was actually participant in the audience of that and very much enjoyed that production. So there's some useful information there. In addition to the link to an online version of the book, we have a timeline of Mary Shelley's life. And then in the censure section, we have who was Mary Shelley, again, talking more in a little more in depth about her life and influences, about the readings itself, and a little bit of a summary of that section. So one needs to thoroughly read those sections. We'll read through it a little bit right now. So who was Mary Shelley? Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley was born on 30th of August, 1797. She was an English novelist, short story writer, dramatist, essayist, biographer, and travel writer, best known for her novel Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus. Her life and other works are equally fascinating. Here are some key aspects. And I say equally fascinating. They have not gripped the imagination of the general public, though, in the way that Frankenstein or the modern Prometheus, or just plain Frankenstein, as it's often termed, have done. So, early life and influences. As a female and feminist author of her time, she faced many challenges, but her parents were role models for her. Mary was the daughter of philosopher and political writer William Godwin and the famed feminist Mary Wollstonecraft, author of A Vindication of the Rights of Women. Now, sadly, her mother died shortly after her birth. Mary received an advanced education for a girl of her time, largely self-directed through her father's extensive library. Her father and his intellectual circle included many prominent figures of the day, exposing her to important ideas and debate opportunities. In her personal life, at the age of 16, she began a relationship with Percy Bysshe Shelley, the already at that time married poet, Percy Bysshe Shelley. They eloped in 1814, um, facing social ostracism and financial hardship. It was quite the scandal. Family tragedies. She faced numerous personal tragedies, including the loss of her mother, three of her four children, her husband, who drowned in 1822. Widowhood in later years after Percy's death. Mary Shelley lived as a professional writer. to support herself and her son. She faced criticism and societal challenges due to her unconventional life choices. Literary career, Frankenstein. Written when she was just 18, Frankenstein was published when she was 20 and is considered her masterpiece. It was initially published anonymously in 1818. People actually thought that Percy Bysshe Shelley had wrote it under an anonymous flavor. Other works that she wrote included The Last Man, Valperga, and Ladore. She also penned short stories, essays, biographies, travel narratives. She edited Percy Bysshe Shelley's work as well to pay the bills after his passing. In her legacy, she's considered a feminist icon, often celebrated as such. Her mother's feminist writings and her own experiences in a male-dominated society influenced her writings and her work. Uh, Her work, particularly Frankenstein, had a lasting impact on literature and numerous adaptations. She's often considered by many to have been the originator of the science fiction genre, to be a person who truly blended that notion of fiction together with science and created the origin of an actual writing genre, region of written expression and expertise. Uh, Initially overshadowed by her husband's fame, Mary Shelley's contribution to literature, especially in the genres of science fiction and horror, has increasingly been recognized and celebrated. So, through this point, many know her far better and her work far better than they do Percy Bysshe Shelley, the poet. Times in which Mary lived were not especially supportive of women. When Frankenstein was first published anonymously in 1818, considerable speculation about the identity existed, but no one really thought a woman wrote it. Again, they thought that Percy Bysshe Shelley was the author of the novel because he had prefaced it. This belief was fueled by the factors of Percy Bysshe Shelley's pre-existing literary reputation. He was already a well-known poet and intellectual, and established in the literary circles of the day. He wrote the preface to the first edition, which contributed to the confusion regarding authorship, literary style, and themes. Some of the readers noted the similar themes in Frankenstein to his own works. These perceived similarities supported the belief. Uh, those probably had more to do with the fact that he did kind of suggest certain editorial stylistic conventions in her work, which I think are quite identifiable and did not improve it. If you read the original version compared with the later version, um, I think that his style of writing is less accessible to contemporary reader than Mary's natural style of writing, of what we perceive to be her natural style of writing. Gender assumptions in the literary world of the 19th century was heavily male dominated. And it was uncommon for women to be recognized as authors, particularly of serious philosophic works, which this did actually address serious philosophic issues. Consequently, it was assumed that a man must have written this. Again, women were limited in their opportunities and education, severely curtailed in educational opportunities. So she was unusual for her gender in her opportunities and her ability to be somewhat outspoken at the time. It wasn't until the publication of the second edition in 1823 that Mary Shelley was credited as the author, helping to dispel the earlier misconceptions about Percy Bysshe Shelley's authorship. However, even after her name was attached to the novel, some critics continued to suggest that Percy had a significant hand in its writing, a claim that has been largely discredited by modern scholarship that recognizes Mary Shelley's independent authorship. Mary Shelley's life was marked by both brilliance and tragedy. Her enduring legacy as a writer and intellectual reflects her remarkable resilience and talent in the face of the many challenges that she confronted. All right, so then we have a little discussion of the story itself. We'll debate over that and the legacy of it. And again, there's a thorough timeline which I recommend reading through since there will be some things on the test, so to speak, that you'll want to know about from that. Thank you so much for your time and attention. If you have any questions, again, please look to meet your instructor where you will find my email address, my office hours, and please do feel free to contact me. I am happy we're working together and look forward to our continuing discussion of understanding of British literature. Thank you so much.